The decree that shook the world of tradition bears a very specific signature, and it is from that signature that we must begin. His name is Victor Manuel Fernandez. But 3 years ago, the same man said exactly the opposite. Because in 2023, that cardinal preached that classifications and labels in the church are terrible. Today, he signs them. In this video, we get to know the character and understand what this contradiction really says, not just about him, but about the entire line. Let's start with the facts. Victor Manuel Fernandez, an Argentinian nicknamed Tucho, is the prefect of the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith. He is the official guardian of Catholic doctrine, the man who oversees what can and cannot be taught in the church. He is Pope Francis's right-hand man on the most sensitive issues. His name is linked to the most controversial documents of recent years, from those on morality to those on blessings for couples in irregular situations. His reputation is that of a pastoral theologian, an enemy of the rigid, a champion of broad, boundless mercy. And this is precisely where the short circuit begins. Because on March 5th, 2023, while he was still Archbishop of La Plata, Argentina, Fernandez gave a homily in the cathedral that today sounds like a reversed prophecy. He said verbatim, "You know that for many centuries, the church has gone in another direction. Without realizing it, it has developed an entire philosophical and moral system full of classifications to catalog people, to label them." And he continued, "This person can receive communion, that person cannot. This person can be forgiven, that person cannot. It's terrible that this happened to us in the church. Thank God, Pope Francis is helping us free ourselves from those rigid patterns." Reread that sentence and keep it in mind. It's terrible to classify, to say who can and who can't, who's in and who's out. He said it just 3 years ago. Because what did that same man do on July 2nd, 2026? He signed a decree that does exactly what he condemned. Classification. These 6 are excommunicated. Label. These priests are schismatic. Division. These lay people, if they adhere, are out. This one can receive the sacraments, that one cannot. The champion of boundless mercy has drawn one of the clearest lines of recent decades. The man who wanted to free us from rigid patterns has issued the most rigid pattern of all, excommunication. And it is here that history reveals its true nature. Because this isn't just a case of personal inconsistency, it's the revelation of a method. Mercy without classification is preached to certain groups and denied to others. It is flexible with those who stray from the doctrine, ironclad with those who cling to it. Let's think about it. For years, divorced and remarried people, those living in irregular situations, have been told, "No doors are closed. The church welcomes everyone. Woe betide anyone who judges." But for traditionalists, who only ask for the Mass of all time, the harshest word in the canonical vocabulary is reserved: schism, excommunication. Double standards. With one hand, boundaries are torn down. With the other, a very high one is erected. And the variable isn't doctrinal gravity, it's direction. Toward progressivism, all doors are open. Toward tradition, the wall. And this isn't an isolated case. Let's look at some other examples from these same days, and the picture becomes even clearer. In Central Africa, a young priest, Father Crepin, baptized 175 people, and the next day he was shot dead. A true martyr. How many decrees, how many solemn communiques did Rome issue for him? Almost nothing. In Cambodia, a Catholic bishop has agreed to be crowned protector of the Buddha's teachings, and is funding a Buddhist school, declaring that when religions walk together, the world will see true peace. Explicit syncretism. No decree, no excommunication. And let's remember China. Bishops ordained by the communist regime without the Pope's mandate during the vacancy of the see. No schism was declared. Indeed, the silent ratification followed. Put it all together. The forgotten martyr, the tolerated Buddhist bishop, the ratified Chinese bishops, and on the other side, the Society of St. Pius X, struck down with the utmost severity. Does it seem to you that the variable is fidelity to Christ? What is really being punished in today's church? Because if the same man who calls the classifications terrible then signs the harshest classification, then the criterion isn't doctrinal coherence. It's something else. It's sympathy or antipathy toward a certain idea of the church. Be careful. We want to be completely fair. One might argue that the cases are different. The fraternity's consecrations are a public and formal act of disobedience, while the other behaviors are more nuanced. This is a serious objection, and it must be upheld. But it doesn't hold up completely. Why doesn't a bishop who is crowned by another religion, or who remains silent in the face of the blood of martyrs, also perform public acts? And above all, if the criterion were truly disobedience to the Pope, then the Chinese ordinations, carried out against every rule, would have deserved the same rigor. But no. A grave suspicion remains that Rome's severity has become selective, harsh with those who love tradition too much, yet accommodating with almost everything else. And the man who embodies this paradox is none other than FERNÁNDEZ, the theologian of unlimited mercy who becomes the notary of excommunication. His own words of 2023 remain there, judging his actions of 2026. We don't say this out of hatred for anyone. A man can change his mind, he can mature, he can even contradict himself in good faith. But when the contradiction concerns the guardian of doctrine and affects the lives of 600,000 believers, then it must be addressed, respectfully but clearly. Because Catholic doctrine isn't a garment that changes with the seasons. Either classifications are always terrible, or they're correct when they serve to defend the truth. But they can't be terrible for divorced people and sacrosanct for traditionalists. Truth doesn't have two standards. And there's a lesson in this story that goes beyond the individual character. It's that words endure. A pastor can sign 1,000 decrees, but his homilies, his speeches, always come knocking on the door and demand accountability. For this reason, as believers, we must not be fooled by the slogans of facile mercy or selective rigor. There is only one standard, the faith of all time, the faith that does not change, depending on who is in charge at the time. We started with a phrase, "It's terrible to classify, label, say who's in and who's out." Cardinal FERNÁNDEZ uttered it in 2023. In 2026, that same cardinal signed the harshest classification in decades. This isn't a news story. It's a reflection of an era in which severity and mercy no longer follow truth, but expediency, and in which too often those who cling to tradition pay the highest price. But the faithful should not be discouraged, because above the cardinals, above the decrees, above the contradictions of men, there is a truth that no signature can change. And that truth, sooner or later, judges everyone with the same standard. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.